Greetings, friend. This puzzle is from the New York Times rated hard. On March 16, 2019, Mark Goodliffe of Cracking The Cryptic fame released a video called Hard Sudoku Made Easy with this simple method, where he solved this puzzle at the request of Patina from Switzerland. This video went on to score over 1.4 million views, making it Mark's most popular video on Cracking The Cryptic and the fourth most popular overall on their channel. I'll put a link below to the original video. Do you want to see how Mark made this Sudoku easy? Keep watching and I'll show you. And with that, it's solving time. Mark starts out with some cross-hatching and Snyder notation. Snyder notation being a technique where you mark in blocks where a particular candidate can be in only two possible cells. Most puzzles in the paper you'll be able to solve by using cross-hatching for the first 3 to 10 cells. Setters can add these digits to give the solver a little bit more confidence without increasing difficulty. So, Mark first saw and put a 1 in there by doing some cross-hatching. Then he added these two 8s up there in block 3. And then added these 9s in row 5. And then he started looking at the 5s and he realized he could solve a 5 right there because of the 5s in rows 4 and 6 and column 6. And then he went from there, he was able to solve another 5. And from there, then he pencil marked a couple of 5s up in block 1. And then he started looking at the 8s. And he was able to pencil mark a couple of 8s right here in block 2 because of the 8s in columns 4 and 5 and row 1. And then he started looking down here in block 7. And he noticed there's two 1s in row 7 and 9. So he pencil marked these 1s. And then he pencil marked some 5s right there. By looking at the 5s in column 7 and 8 and row 8. So he pencil marked these two 5s, but in actuality, Mark could have solved for the 5 here in block 9. So this is going to be our first pause the video moment, where I'll give you a few seconds and tell me, where should the 5 be here in block 9? Okay, if you found it, congratulations, you are a very good solver. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, what we have is this 5 comes down column 2 and this 5 cuts over in row 8. So that means there are two 5s down here in row 9. So that means that the 5 would have been right here and can be solved in row 7, column 9. But Mark doesn't see that yet. Instead, he starts marking 8s down there in block 7, and then he notices that where those 5s could be, and he marks those 5s. But he doesn't solve the 5 just yet, that I just pointed out. And he continues on to do some more Snyder notation. He marks the 9s, and this creates a very powerful naked pair. In reality, if you had all the candidates showing it, and then you saw that the 1 and 9 could only be in these two spots, that'd be a hidden pair. But when you're adding the candidates in, it looks like more like a naked pair because you just put one candidate then the second candidate. But now you realize the 1 and 9 cannot be in any other spot along row 8. This is going to come in super handy in solving the rest of the puzzle. So after he puts in the 9s, he says, well, there's only two spots left, so it has to be a 3 and a 7, and he fills out the rest of block 7. And then he goes up and he realizes, okay, now I can solve that 5. 5, 5, goes over and solves the 5. And then he starts looking at 6s, and he realizes he can also solve for 6, because there's a 6 here in column 8 and a 6 in row 8. So he solves for the 6, and then he starts looking and pencil marks a couple 6s right here in block 8. Then he continues to pencil mark some 6s over there in block 6. And then he's looking and he sees some 7s also in block 6. And he realizes that he can even mark some 1s in block 6. And this is very cool. What Mark realizes is now you actually have a naked quadruple, right? 1, 6, 7, 9. They're limited to these 4 squares. They can't be in any other cell within this block. So that means that's a naked quadruple. And then you also have the 3, 5, 4, and 8. So that means there's only one spot left. And Mark realizes that has to be a 2. After solving this 2, Mark doesn't continue moving up here and looking at the 1s, but instead he cuts across and places 2's in block 5. And then after that, he continues to mark 2's in block 4. And then he starts looking at 1's. And he finally goes back over and does the blends up here in row 3, or excuse me, block 3. And then he adds some 8's down here in block 4. Notice that's an 8 and 8 and an 8 here in column 2. At this point, he's kind of searched around a little bit, and he actually says to the viewers, well done if you are picking up the next stage in front of me. We are not superhuman. And it's funny because Mark can solve very, very fast. I think he felt a little self-conscious that he might be solving a little slow, but actually he was doing a nice, steady job the whole time. And so at this point, he looks and he finds some 2's down here in block 9. And then I'm going to get to another pause the video moment. This is the critical part, because where to go next from here is actually pretty tough. But what Mark finds is a naked single 4. So what we're going to do is going to pause the video and see if you can find the naked single 4 that Mark found. And I will give you a hint. You'll need this 1-9 pair to do it. Okay, congratulations if you spotted that naked single 4. Great job. You're doing really well, and you're making these hard Sudokus look easy. For those of you who just need to enjoy the show, it's right here in block 9. So row 8, column 9. You can see the 1's come across right there. You already have the 2, 3, you don't have the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that 9. And so this had to be a 4. That, I think, is one of the keys where people might get stopped, is where to go in this puzzle. And if you didn't have these naked pairs written in there, it would be really, really tough. So from there, he starts marking some more 9's to finish up column 9, and then goes down to some 4's because he realizes, hey, what I have here with these 4's from columns 7 and 9, this makes another naked pair. And then he realized, oh, I can fill the rest of that pair out, and so he puts these 2's and 3's, and so he's kind of filled out the spots in block 3. He notices with these 2's coming down from column 7, these are locked candidates, that this can't be a 2, so this has to be a 2. So he marks that 2 in block 9. And then he marks some more 3's, noticing that there's only 2 spots for a 3 there in block 9. And then he's able to use this naked pair again to solve this spot, and it's for a 7. Because what's left in here is a 3, 7, 9, and it can't be a 3, and it can't be a 9 because of this, so it has to be a 7. Okay, after solving that 7, he realizes he can place 9's right there. And then this really opens up and is able to solve the rest of block 6. Because he had there. So he realized he could put the 9 there, and then the 6, and the 1, and then the 7. So really helpful to put all that snare notation right there, because he was able to solve all those really quickly. And then he started putting down some more 1's up in row 4. He looked in block 4 there. And then we notice, and this is pretty powerful, that the 1's are limited here to columns 1 and 3 here in block 7, and then 1 and 3 in block 4. And when you have the situation, it looks kind of like an X-wing. What we know then is that the 1's in block 1 have to be in column 2 because they can't be down there. It's called a claiming pair. But then Mark also realized, all right, we have a 1 here in row 2, so there's only 1 spot left for a 1. It's right here. And I highlighted this in the last analyze I did with Simon because he pointed it out because it happened multiple times. Very powerful. If you can see these kind of claiming pairs, as they're called, you will succeed and move on to those hard puzzles from the New York Times. So after marking that 1, he was able to solve another one by cross-hatching over here to block 3, and then he solved that 9. And then he came on back and did a little bit of cleanup. So he realized with the 1-9 pair here, there's only 1 spot left in row 8. So he put that 3 there. And then he started moving up the middle columns and marked a couple more 3's. So he did the pencil marks with the 3's. And then we realized again is he had another claiming pair right here. And so the 3's were limited to rows 2 and 3 in block 2 and block 3. So that means the 3's have to be up here in row 1 for block 1. So another claiming pair, very helpful. And this is kind of how he helped move on at this point in the puzzle. And then from there, he was looking around for another naked or hidden single, and he found this 6 right here. So if you look, 1, the 2s can't be there, 3s, you got the 4, 5, not a 6, 7, 8, 9. He just went and found that 6. That was actually a really, really good solve. And then it took away this pencil mark, so he was able to solve that 6. And then he was able to make a couple, he marked some 7s as he saw them. He saw the 7s here in rows 4 and 5. And then came up here and said, all right, with these 6s, now I have 2 6s right here, so it's going to make a 6, 8 naked pair. And with the 6, 8 naked pair, now you had a 9 coming up column 5, and you had the 6, 8. So that means the 9s were limited to row 1 up here in block 2. So he marked those 9s. And then he realized with these 9s in row 1 and these 9 here in row 3 that there's only 2 spots left for a 9 in block 1. So he marked that, and that's now a 5, 9 naked pair. And this is going to come in handy because now he can see, oh, I have a 6 in row 1 and then a 6 coming up column 2. So the only spaces left for 6 were down here in row 3, columns 1 and 3. So he marked that, but he also marked a couple of 2s because he saw the 2s were up here in column 1 and row 1, so there's only 2 spots for 2. But this spot, he saw here, oh, the 6 is cut across, so that can't be a 6, that's going to be an 8 and a 6, and then he was able to come over here and work on those pencil marks. Now it's a 4, and then that was an 8. Then he looks around and he does some more pencil marking. He actually comes all the way down here and marks a couple of 4s down there in row 9. And then he starts looking and he realizes, you know, where do I go from here? And he noticed you have a 6 in row 4, a 6 in row 6, and a 6 in column 2. So if you look over here in block 4, there's only 1 spot left for 6. And so he was able to solve this 6. And with that 6 gone, he was able to go up to block 1 and solve that for a 6. And then with that, and then from there, he was able to solve this 2. And he's been working on column 2, so he looked, he could have cut across here. You can see he could have solved this for 3 and that for 2. But instead, he looked back down and he went, wait, you know, there's only 1 spot for 4 in column 2, so he went and solved that instead. And then cut across, and he was able to kind of finish up, do some cleanup here in block 5. So he solves a 2 there. And after he notices he solves a 2, he solves a 1 right here. And then he looks in block 4 and he marks the 3s and says this is a naked pair of 3s. He realizes that affects block 5. So he's able to solve that 3 right there. And then he marks the 4s to kind of finish out block 5. And then at this point, Mark looks up and he notices that he can solve this 2 and 3. And I'll tell you, at this spot, with 25 cells remaining, Mark cracks the puzzle. Because once he does this, it's all naked singles from here. So 2, 3, you can see the 3. He comes on down. You notices, you know, he puts in the 4, and you'll just notice that these pencil marks are kind of go away. So the method that Mark alluded to in the description of making hard Sudoku easy is called hidden pairs. And he said hidden pairs, when you're marking it, it kind of looks more like naked pairs. It's really semantics on how you mark the puzzle. Mark said this puzzle had loads and loads of them. The puzzle itself, really nothing unusual. I've seen this many times when I'm doing New York Times hard puzzles. But after watching his solve of it and reading through the comments, I have 2 reasons why this video became so popular on Cracking the Cryptic. First, YouTube really started recommending this channel to a wider audience in 2019. One comment, and there's several more, it said that basically this video, it was recommended to them, they'd never seen it before, but it got them hooked on the channel, and there's many comments like that. I remember first seeing them in 2019 as well. And 2, people said that Mark had a really nice ASMR type quality. He was much slower and deliberate when he was doing this puzzle. Even today, he's a little bit more animated, and Mark can solve really quick. But people really enjoyed that, and it had some really nice, heartfelt comments. This video had thousands of comments, and they're all really nice. So, did Mark's solve help you make a hard Sudoku easy? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Smart Hobbies so you don't miss any new content. And while you're waiting, make sure you check out these other videos from my channel. Thank you so much for watching.